We'll start this morning with some big breaking news.
Jimmy Kimmel has once again found himself at the center of a national storm, but this time the stakes are far higher than a late-night TV feud or a celebrity roasting. The head of the U.S. broadcast regulator has accused the ABC host of appearing to directly mislead the American public with his recent comments about the killing of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, igniting a fierce debate about free speech, satire, and media responsibility. The controversy began when Kimmel, during one of his monologues, addressed the arrest of Tyler Robinson, the man charged with killing Kirk. While mixing his trademark sarcasm with political commentary, Kimmel suggested that certain details about the case were being deliberately misrepresented in the media. However, what some viewers interpreted as satire, others viewed as a reckless presentation of speculation as fact. The remarks immediately drew condemnation from conservative figures, who accused Kimmel of attempting to downplay or distort the seriousness of the crime. What began as social media outrage quickly escalated when the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) released a statement saying Kimmel's comments appeared to directly mislead the American public. The FCC had stressed that the incident was particularly concerning because it touched on an active murder case involving a politically charged victim. The FCC's involvement is unprecedented in recent memory when it comes to late-night comedy. Historically, comedians have been granted wide creative latitude under the First Amendment, even when their routines venture into political territory. But the regulator suggested that the lines between satire, news, and misinformation are becoming increasingly blurred in today's polarized climate, and broadcasters must take greater responsibility. Viewers must be able to trust that what is presented on public airwaves, even under the guise of comedy, does not intentionally or recklessly distort matters of grave public interest, the chairman said. ABC, which airs Jimmy Kimmel Live, responded by taking the highly unusual step of pulling the host off the air indefinitely. The network said it would be reviewing the matter internally, though it stopped short of issuing a direct rebuke. Behind the scenes, reports suggest that senior executives were caught off guard by the FCC's sharp language and are seeking legal guidance on how to proceed. Kimmel, who has not spoken publicly since the decision, has built a career on blending humor with political commentary. In recent years, he has often been outspoken on hot-button issues, including gun violence, healthcare, and former President Donald Trump's policies. While his audience has generally embraced this more political version of his comedy, critics have long accused him of partisanship and using his platform to push ideological narratives. The Charlie Kirk controversy has brought those criticisms into sharp focus. Supporters of Kimmel argue that this is little more than a political witch hunt. They insist that late-night television is inherently satirical and should not be policed like traditional journalism. Comedy is not news, one of his fellow late-night hosts tweeted in solidarity. If we start holding comedians to the same standard as journalists, we'll end up in a place where free expression is strangled. Others warned that regulatory bodies should tread carefully, lest they create a chilling effect that stifles satire altogether. Yet opponents maintain that Kimmel crossed a line by commenting on an ongoing murder case, suggesting alternative narratives about Kirk's killer that could influence public opinion. Several conservative media outlets have called for ABC to fire Kimmel permanently, arguing that his actions undermine faith in both the justice system and the media. When millions of Americans are told something misleading about a politically motivated killing on national television, that is not a joke, it is disinformation, one commentator declared. The legal implications of the FCC's comments are not yet clear. The Commission does not typically intervene directly in cases involving satire or opinion, but it does have the authority to investigate broadcasters for misleading or harmful content. Media law experts say this case could test the boundaries of regulatory oversight in an era where entertainment and political commentary often overlap. This is a unique moment, one professor explained. It raises the question, when does a joke stop being a joke and start becoming misinformation with real-world consequences? For now, the future of Jimmy Kimmel Live remains uncertain. If ABC decides to stand by its host, it risks intensifying conflict with regulators and potentially alienating parts of its audience. If it chooses to cut ties, it could trigger a backlash from viewers who see the move as capitulating to political pressure. Either way, the decision will be a defining moment not just for Kimmel but for late-night television as a whole. Meanwhile, the family of Charlie Kirk has remained largely silent on Kimmel's comments, focusing instead on the ongoing legal proceedings against Robinson. However, close allies of Kirk in conservative circles have amplified calls for stricter accountability, framing the controversy as part of a broader culture war over how political violence is discussed in the media. The Kimmel saga highlights a larger cultural battle unfolding in America. At a time when public trust in institutions, whether government, media, or entertainment, is already fragile, the blurring of fact, satire, and misinformation is proving combustible. The question of how far comedians can go in shaping narratives around real-world events is now under the national spotlight. Whether this controversy fades into the background like so many media scandals before it, or whether it sets a precedent for how satire is regulated in the future, remains to be seen. For Kimmel, whose career has thrived on pushing boundaries, this may be the most consequential test yet. And for viewers, the episode serves as a stark reminder that even in the world of late-night comedy, words carry weight and sometimes consequences far beyond laughter.